All right, people, I always like to load the end of the show with the topics I think you really care about most. And today we've got the potential demise of Nicola Sturgeon, with it possibly the end of Scottish independence and the end to the nonsense about whether or not women are women, which, of course, they definitely are. So there we go. Also, I'm going to be talking about Lee Anderson's frigates in the Channel. We've got a guest on that. Should we be putting the Navy in to have a standoff with the French? I mean, we're already staring down the barrel of World War III with the Russians. Why not do it with the French as well? And to wrap it all off, is Sam Smith OK? The music industry's gone a bit weird, if you ask me. Lady Gaga had someone throw up on her last night. Sam Smith as well, on top of that. He's been walking around looking like a kind of half-baked joint of honey roast ham, hasn't he? So we'll be talking about that. But yes, firstly, it's up to Scotland, because Scotland might not be totally in favour of Nicola Sturgeon's approach to transgender rights. In fact, that's putting it mildly, because it looks as though Sturgeon might get biffed. A new poll from the publication Unheard found that in aggregate, Scottish people are also more trans-sceptical than the English people. So Nicola Sturgeon has chosen a hill to die on that betrays, some would argue, what she is, which is a woman, and also the vast majority of Scottish people, which is not really great politics. It's all in the wake of this gender recognition reform bill. I'm going to go to my guest now without much more dither and delay. It is the wonderful founder of Standing for Women. It is Kellie-Jay Keen. Kellie, this poll now is official. You can now, with actual hard data in your hand, say what you kind of already knew, which is that the vast majority of people, not just in England, but definitely in Scotland as well, fundamentally disagree with the idea that a male rapist should be allowed into a woman's space.
Well, who knew that most of the UK would actually know what a woman was and wouldn't want to put women in unnecessary danger? I think we all knew, right? I think what's really interesting with that poll, I really didn't like any of the language. Calling people trans-sceptical is just nonsensical. Realist, I thought, would be a more accurate description. But of the people that strongly disagree with the idea of keeping men out of women's spaces, so there was a question that called, I think, transgender women, so men, and would we like those men in women's changing rooms? And I think 22% said yes, or it might have been more than that. And I think what's interesting is I suspect out of those 22%, about 90% of those people genuinely think somebody referred to as a transgender woman is a man who's had his penis removed. And 90%, at the very least, 90% of men who call themselves women have no such alteration whatsoever. So we're talking about men with penises.
Yeah, indeed. And I can't help but wonder as well where this really starts, Kellie, because these numbers, I suspect, unfortunately, there's going to end up being more people who, despite your best efforts, who go, for want of a better phrase, go soft on this stuff, because it's starting in schools, isn't it? And we're even seeing now, nominated for a Children's Book of the Year award by Waterstones, is a book that has a diagram of a very young girl with My Imaginary Willie on it. And I just think, and parents aren't allowed to pull their kids out of pride marches and stuff. I just think, is this not indoctrination at this stage now?
Oh, it's 100% indoctrination. I think we don't know just how far that goes. And it starts with sort of ripples of LGBT inclusion, and it ends up with overtly sexualized images and harmful ideas to really, really small children. So part of that diagram was also things like pointing to bits of a female body, saying that it was disgusting, or it was vile, or needed removing, or just that sort of stuff. We dealt with a long time ago, like in my youth, we dealt with anorexia and bulimia. Now that still is the biggest harm to teenage girls, but we banned all those anorexia websites, those sort of websites that promoted it. And as far as I'm aware, we never promoted that in schools. There weren't teachers talking about how stunning and brave having anorexia was. And we've just got, it's just authoritarian, horrible echoes of the Red Army.
Can I ask you, this is, I think, an interesting point that I'd love your view on, which is, how do you feel about women who do not support you in terms of the definition of adult human female and what a woman is? About women who would be happy to let, well, essentially me, really, into a woman's changing room?
I feel very sad, disappointed, and really quite angry. And I wonder what the driving force is. And I've thought about this a lot. Like, why do some women go along with our demise? And I think it's, some people talk about it's just about being killed last. Um, and some people, I think it's social currency. I think right now, it's really important to be liked. And perhaps it always was really important, more important for women to be liked. And we have to pass tests in our social circles in order to be liked. Don't be too confident, don't be too beautiful, don't be too quiet, don't be too courageous, don't be too meek. And you lovely men, you don't have those sort of standards. You take each other a little more as you find each other. So I think it's social currency for women.
OK, well, look, thank you very much, Kellie. And talking of popularity as well, it obviously is... I mean, it's a crying shame, isn't it, that Nicola Sturgeon appears to have picked the wrong fight here. You hate to see it. Kellie-Jay Keen there, founder of Standing for Women. Thank you very much. Always a pleasure, Kellie. Right.